Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Cagley here with Brad Sturdy. Brad, we're going to start this coverage out. People want to talk Illinois. I got to be honest with you. I don't think Illinois could have. I think they got a pretty darn good draw overall. Opportunity to play Fran, and then the opportunity to go up against North Carolina. I don't like the location a lot, but North Carolina has their best player injured. There are worse draws Illinois could have gotten.
Yeah, I think from a team standpoint, Illinois got a pretty good draw of the sixes because North Carolina, a lot of their wins that they got the six seed with were with one of the best freshmen in the country, and Caleb Wilson. It'd be like
Yep.
Illinois not having Keaton Wagler and going into a game, right? So yeah, so I'm pretty I like the matchups. I don't like the location playing because it's 3.5 hours from Chapel Hill, so you know they're gonna have a very pro UNC crowd. Now, the one thing I will say, VCU has won 16 of 17. And that's who North Carolina has playing that first round. So that would not be an easy game. North Carolina, though, I mean, to be honest, they're kind of soft. They're a lot like Illinois.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Was that my outside voice? They're a little soft. But yeah, I mean, I think Illinois ended up 10th overall, which is pretty good. Just the way it worked out, Purdue wins the Big Ten tournament, jumps them and Michigan State to get to that 2 line. And get St. Louis, and Illinois now has to go to Greenville, South Carolina. I don't know. The one thing I'm not sure of, Penn is a team that had to have a miraculous day from TJ Power. They're ranked 150 in KenPom, and they had to have a miraculous day from TJ Power to get into the tournament. That's a good matchup in the first round. The only downside is playing Fran, who obviously knows Illinois extremely well. But they're not a great offensive team. They do shoot the three well, but they're not that's about all they do well offensively. Not a great offensive rebounding team. They are, but at the same time, defensively, they're not great. This is a game that Illinois should have a huge size advantage, dominate the glass, and should win. Then you go to North Carolina or VCU, and that's going to be a much tougher matchup. But again, not a bad matchup for Illinois. But much like I talked before, they got to play well. They got to make some shots, or it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what happens. You can't just win due to just because you show up, and they're going to have to compete and find a way to close out some of these close games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the keys. Illinois needs to do a few things. First off, they need to actually guard on the perimeter. They need to hit the three. And to some extent, I think they need to just go out there and focus on the offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, use their size. And I wouldn't mind if they would take what the defense gives them. And what I mean by that is let's take a look at Luke Altmaier on the football field. He was a guy who didn't turn over the ball very much because he tried for the high percentage play. And so if Illinois has a 7'1" center who's guarded by a 6'4" guy, let's just get him the ball in the paint and see what happens. I don't feel like that's a hard thing. And I think Illinois is now one time zone closer to the Balkans' natural time. So maybe this gives Illinois that advantage that we think about in terms of that. So I would look at that as something that Illinois has an opportunity with, Brad.
They are the lowest free throw rate, right? Besides Illinois and Duke. It was Illinois, Duke, and then North Carolina. Although it didn't hold true against Wisconsin, obviously. But I think North Carolina is the only thing that scares me about North Carolina is we've talked about this a lot. They shoot the ball. They shoot the ball well from three at times. They have lots of guys who can space the floor, and we know that's been a kind of a a kryptonite for Illinois. So that would be my scary thing there. Seth Trimble kind of going nuts, although he's not maybe a huge scorer. But again, play well. I mean, if Illinois makes shots, they're going to score a lot, and they just got to find a way to do that. But again, you got to get by Fran, and I think they're in good shape there. But yeah, just you got to get it done. Find a way.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at this team, Trimble scares me a little bit because he reminds me of Fears a little, that he's a physical guy. He can play physical if he wants to. Certainly doesn't do it day in and day out the way Jeremy does. but he's got the skill set and the body that he could be problematic. I just don't know that you can't just draw that up one day and start playing consistently better than you have in the past.
Yeah. The one thing is, like, I always look at this, like, you have to look at this from perspective. Illinois finished 10th, and they're not playing well right now. I don't think anybody's going to deny Illinois didn't finish strong. A week ago, Purdue was dead. They were 3 seed. Now Purdue beats Michigan, and they're the 2 seed, and they get St. Louis. And now the one thing about Illinois, I'd much rather be in Houston for the second round than San Jose if they get there. You know what I mean? Location wise. Now Houston's a tough matchup, but you're playing a 2 seed. What isn't a tough matchup? Is UConn a tough matchup? Is Iowa State? Whatever. I mean, you're going to play a tough team, right? I mean, you get to the Sweet 16, you expect to play a good team, and you just got to find a way to compete. I do. The one thing I wonder, Mike, and we haven't seen this, the Purdue team has shown some grittiness in the past, maybe in years before. I don't think this Illinois team has shown enough grit outside of the game at Purdue and the game in Nebraska. They really just have leads and kind of get soft. And so they got to show some toughness. Got to turn it up a notch if they want to make a run.
What does this team need to do? And Kat, if you're ready to go, what does Illinois, when they get up by 10 points, does Underwood have to call timeout and start screaming at him?
Well, he mentioned last time they need to really, really understand what it's like to get just to be tougher. I mean, it's true. I mean, Mike, you said it earlier. They're 1 or 2 rebounds away from being very, very successful. They just are. And you go back, the most recent one was the Blackwell game, the rebound. He didn't grab the rebound, and there was 2 big guys there. Brad's right. They're not coming in hot right now, but they have to figure out how to be tougher. I mean, a lot of people are blaming the coaches. At the end of the day, it all ends on the coach. But there are plays and situations where they could have just out tough teams. And I was doing it too, complaining about the tired legs. But you know what? Wisconsin didn't show that on 3 days of playing, and they almost had a chance to be Michigan. So we can complain all we want. They just have to get tougher. Nothing's going to change. Or they may throw some wrinkles in defensively. Mentally, they have to get a lead, Mike, like you said, and put their throats on people. There's a couple bad shots here or there, and then it starts to trickle down, and then it's too late.
Yes, and Illinois does play at 11:40 on Thursday morning. So set your alarm on your computer at work so you can find a way to ditch and get close to and play a little lunch hooky, so to speak, and watch the Illini, support the Illini. This game against Penn, Brad, this is a game that Illinois should win. But we've seen these things before. But this Illinois team, as much as people want to complain, is one or two plays away from actually being a 2 seed, and they have not lost a game to one of those games that's unexplainable. How did they lose to this team? If they lose to Penn, that would be the first one this year, correct?
Yeah, the worst loss they have is at UCLA when you look at the teams. I mean, and it turned UCLA's not bad. I mean, they're obviously a team that they had a good win on Friday. Bilodeau gets hurt, and then they obviously aren't competitive on Saturday. They competed, but maybe didn't have a chance on Saturday. But I would say that, this is a team that has done that. They haven't really, other than Maryland, they've handled the lower level teams pretty handily, right? I mean, and they've gotten it done. So I expect them to win against Penn, but at the same time, the Saturday game, whether it's UNC or VCU, is going to be a tough game, and they're going to have to probably win a close game, I would guess. And can they do that?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, and it stinks. You know what? I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I'm not mad at the seed because I think they deserved it. Mike, I don't know. We talked about it a little bit before we got on air. You win a couple more games. You don't drop the UCLA game. Maybe you win the Michigan State game. You avoid that. I don't care how you look at it. North Carolina is going to be a tough matchup. They just are. You don't put yourself in a situation to where you have to play the second round game. You want to advance to the Sweet 16. And I know fans right now are going to be upset, clearly going to be upset if they don't get to the second round. And North Carolina is not going to be easy. If you remember, Duke's an overall number 1 seed. Granted, it was at home, and they beat Duke. Illinois is not playing well right now. So for me personally, there are some reasons to be concerned.
Yeah, and of course we've got our prediction here that the Fetigators brought up that UNC is going to lose against VCU. So there's one that you could put money on and feel comfortable with. I'll tell you, when I look at this overall bracket, to me, the game that is going to be the coolest is that potential Vanderbilt Nebraska game. Could be a fantastically entertaining game because you want to see Vanderbilt's looked really good, kind of closed out fairly well this year, and Nebraska started 20-0 and finished 6-6 in their last 12 games, but they're still a good team. And like Illinois, I think Nebraska will play better outside of the Big Ten, especially if they get a whistle that maybe allows for a little less grabbing and holding on the Nebraska offensive players. I don't know how you feel about that, Brad.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. The other thing is, Ken mentioned them beating Duke. That was with Caleb Wilson. So obviously
Yes.
Caleb Wilson played 40 minutes and scored 23 points against Duke. And obviously losing your best player is tough. And since that time, we kind of break it down. They got beat by what? They got beat by 20 plus by NC State. So that's, and then they lost their first game in the NCAA tournament to Clemson. They got beat by 15 by Duke. So yeah, I mean they haven't been the same team, I don't think. But much like Illinois, they're not playing great down the stretch. They have a more valid reason for not playing great because they lost their best player, who's it'd be like Illinois losing Wagler. But yeah, so I think North Carolina would be interesting. The one you mentioned that game. Can Nebraska? If Nebraska shoots the ball well, they can compete with anybody. They're going to have a good game plan. Fred's going to have them doing some nice things, setting up defense. Vanderbilt I think Vanderbilt's underseeded. I'm surprised they were a 5. I was surprised St. John's was a 5 as well in the other bracket, but that's a tough draw for Nebraska. I really think so in their first time, but they've never won an NCAA tournament. So just win that first game, man. And it's like a golden era of Nebraska basketball to win an NCAA tournament game. They could catch Northwestern in winning NCAA tournament games. So it's pretty. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I look at these brackets. I think the South region and the East region are both really good.
Let's look at the East here, Brad. I just put the East up for people. The number 1 seed there is Duke. Number 2 is UConn. Number 3 is Michigan State. Number 4 is, who is that there? Is that St. John's? No, Kansas. And then and I think St. John's is better than Kansas.
I do too. Louisville 6, and if Mikel Brown plays, that's a different team, right? UCLA 7 and Ohio State 8. So you've got some teams, I mean, who can have beaten teams, right? So you look at that East region, and I break it down, you could get a rematch of Duke and St. John's. But here's the thing. If you're Duke, you're a little shorthanded. You're not 100% right now. Ohio State took Michigan to the wire just a couple days ago. Bruce Thornton can lead a team. That could be your second-round matchup. Or you look on the other side, you get Kansas or St. John's in the round of 16. I mean, St. John's just pounded UConn. Now that they also got destroyed by UConn a couple of weeks ago. But these are teams, and Kansas has arguably the top draft pick. Darren Peterson might want to play that game. And if he wants to play, he's really good. Man, I don't know. That's a tough draw. That's a lot of good teams there. And I think Duke's the clear favorite. But at the same time, and then let's say everything goes chalk and all those things happen. You've got Danny Hurley, who's got a couple national titles in the regional final. He might be a pretty good coach. I know he's a tool, but he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, I thought St. Dominic's is back, so obviously it's Underwood's fault even before anything happens. So we're good there. The world is well, and I thought Binkley family 21-7. Illinois is fine. He likes the matchup with Houston, and worse than usual defensively. I would put in there for Houston.
Yes, it's all relative, right?
It's relative here because
he's right. They aren't one of those defensive teams that you just feel like you don't have a chance.
Right.
They smother you.
Exactly.
They're
Preston, which is
defensive.
Yeah.
5th in the country defensively. Um,
Yeah, and people wonder what's going on. So I do think this one is a good one. Kat, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this region here.
Mike, I'm about to pull mine up on my screen here because yours is tough for me to see. That's the Duke region, correct? Of course, I
Yeah,
can't see.
I thought Michigan State as a 3, I would not want to be looking if I were Illinois, I would not want to be looking at Louisville in the second round.
yeah,
I
especially if Brown plays. If Brown
yes,
plays, yes.
yes. So to me now Brown doesn't play, yeah, you're in a whole different world there, but I would not want to look at
Yeah.
that.
So can I have to ask these guys who are saying they think Penn's going to upset. So Penn had to have a miracle 3 with 1 second to go to beat Yale. And they are a team ranked 150th in Ken Palm. Illinois hasn't lost to a team that's less than a 7 seed the entire season. They're one of the few teams that doesn't have any kind of losses like that. I don't know why you would expect them to get upset. I mean, I'm not saying that you look at their losses. That's why they were the 10th overall seed, is because their losses are close and they are to really good teams.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like as I'm looking at this one, just so you guys know, Marcus is out on the interstate trying to drive through. Apparently, the problem's not that the wind is 80 miles an hour; it's that there's Honda Pilots flying around in it. But basically, you've got this. I think to me stuck out as the toughest region in this year's tournament, and I thought it was a region on steroids because UCLA, if you think when they're playing really well, which they have the capability of doing, to see them as a 7 seed's got to be pretty scary. The other part is, of course, Mick Cronin. Has he started crying yet about? Do you think they made him play in Philadelphia just to make Mick mad? Because they could have put him somewhere out west, and they chose not to.
Yeah, no question. I agree. What do you, Mike? I got a question for you. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you look at this bracket, who's coming out of this bracket? Who is the regional final?
For me, the regional final, this is going to hurt because I think it's either Duke or St. John's is going to come out of the top part of this bracket, and I think I don't even want to say this, but I think Michigan State or UConn, and I think now you're talking 4 teams, all that are formidable in their own way. If I had to put money on it, you can't really go against Duke. They spend more money. They got that cabal of people putting the dollars into the program. Yeah, they're shorthanded, but the shorthanded Duke bench, pretty much any basketball coach would give his right leg for that roster. So Duke's the odds-on favorite, but you got UConn, like you said. Hurley's an amazing coach. Michigan State, Izzo figures out a way to get the defense in, and St. John's, I think Pitino it would be acknowledged as maybe the GOAT had he stayed at Kentucky and not taken the path he did.
I like St. John's and UConn guys. I'm sorry. I think St. John's playing good basketball. I like UConn. There's going to be some upsets. I mean, look at what we just saw on TV. I think I tweeted with Vanderbilt in Florida and then Purdue. Nobody saw Purdue doing what they were going to do. So I just don't, I'm not sold on Michigan State. It's an easy and it's a very attractive pick. Louisville looks to be pretty dangerous, but to me, I think St. John's is just dominant. And if you're going to get Duke, you better get them early because they are talented. They are the number 1 seed. With the game's close on the line, I like them at the free throw line. I watched them play yesterday, so you can't go wrong with Duke. And UConn is not. They were not. I don't think they're the same team Illinois played when they played them back in November, December. I don't think they're the same team.
Yeah, so maybe they're looking for Illinois to get healthy. I did think the comment that Fran is a good coach that knows how to beat Brad. He does when he has Luca Garza. I'm not certain that he can consistently do that, but I do like Fran as a coach, and my dream would have been for Underwood to make Fran his offensive coordinator and make Bruce Weber his defensive coordinator, and then raise as much money to get as much talent into Illinois as possible with those guys running the that part of the show. But that's just me. Let's go on and take a look if we move next here out to the West, where we have Arizona. I noticed that Clark already said Wisconsin was going to lose to High Point. I thought that was interesting. Arkansas is the 4 seed. You've got Purdue as the 2 seed. Gonzaga's the 3 seed. I think this is a much lighter bracket than what we just looked at in the East. Your thoughts, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I think it. I don't mean this in a bad way, but Arizona has a good draw. Purdue played great this weekend, but over the past 3 weeks, we talked about how bad Illinois' defense was. Purdue had the 233rd defense over the last 3 weeks of the season going into the Big Ten tournament. Then all of a sudden, they look like they can suddenly guard people. And I do think that I believe that Purdue has they're going to play St. Louis, and they're going to have to play a Miami team that I think is very streaky but has a chance to beat you. Or they play Missouri in St. Louis. How is that a reward, too? I mean, what are we doing? Why are we putting Missouri in St. Louis? That seems crazy. You give them a home for being a 10 seed?
That is bizarre.
That was dumb. But it's the NCAA, so I expect dumb. I think this is soft. Gonzaga without Braden Huff is not the same team, I don't think. And BYU without Richie Saunders is not the same team, I don't think.
Yeah.
So you've got some teams there. I know they picked against Wisconsin over High Point, and probably somebody's going to lose. But this Wisconsin team, they're pretty good offensively. They're not great defensively, man.
They're not losing Point.
Yeah,
they're not losing to High Point.
And then Arkansas, I love the Wisconsin-Arkansas matchup. I think that'd be a lot of fun there. And then the other one is you've got Arizona and Arizona-Villanova in the second round. That's a pretty good matchup of name programs, right? But you could have Arizona and Arkansas in the Sweet 16. So that'd be fun. I think that I think Purdue got a pretty good draw, although I don't think they're great. You know what I mean? That was the draw that I wanted Illinois to have right there.
Yes, that was what you've been talking about for a while now.
Yeah, that's the draw that I wanted them to have, was be in St. Louis as the 2 seed against Arizona. Yeah, you got to go to San Jose, but get Gonzaga as your 3, and I like it. I mean, I really do. So it didn't work out. Purdue got that draw now, but as we know, Purdue could lose to Queens.
Yeah. Ked,
well,
your thought?
So here's my thought. I'm going to tell you right now. I didn't care what I saw in the brackets. Wisconsin to me is scary. I really, really like what Wisconsin's been doing. They're tough. They are a mentally, physically outstanding shooting team. Their defense isn't great, but I'm not saying it has to be great, but it's good enough to keep you in games. They beat some of the best teams in the conference more than once. I think this is a very, very dangerous team. When I looked at the brackets, the 2 teams that I didn't want to see, which I know obviously Wisconsin and the Big Ten. The other one for me is Virginia. I think they're underrated. I think they're a really, really good team. They still defend like they used to. You're right, Brad. Purdue, I think, took Illinois seed. And here's what I'm surprised about. For the last couple of years, they've always talked about the Big Ten tournament not meaning anything. This year, I think it did. I think because when you look at Purdue and what they've done, yes, they won the Big Ten tournament, but there's teams that won the Big Ten tournament. I don't think it mattered in the past. Yeah, I think they rewarded them. I don't think they've had a number of great wins in the non-conference. I know everything's done by net and all those type of things, but I'm just surprised that they got. Well, to answer your question, I really like Wisconsin. This is one of their better teams that they've had in a while. So I'm interested to see what they do, and if Purdue can keep it going.
Yeah. So, Matt, you're there over in Champaign. What was the mood when the Illini found out where they were at and that overall bracket?
I mean, Brad's not too thrilled that he has to play against Fran. That's the first part. I mean, there's a lot of when he was at Stephen F. Austin and he had to play against Hugs, and then they beat West Virginia. It's a pretty awful experience for those 2 people when you have to go against your buddy. So they weren't real thrilled about that. Brad's more worried about his basketball team than he is about where they were seated and where they were located and who they're playing. Let's just be honest about it. I mean, I think Kylan Boswell talked about a team meeting that he organized at his house. And it was kind of like him kind of being sergeant of arms going, all that stuff that we've been doing that I've been allowed to kind of have happen, not so much anymore. Or you're going to have to put your hands up on me. enough of this like relaxed crap. Like we need to actually act like we give a damn. And so I think there's a lot of vibes that if Illinois gives a damn, they can go really far. If they don't give a damn, they can lose to Penn. And that's the truth of it.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. And then having to play North Carolina 2.5 hours from campus, even though they are short Caleb Wilson, probably is something that they're not overly enthused about. But I guess with VCU there, you can't take that for granted.
Yeah, I mean, they could also play. I mean, who's the 11? Like
VCU, yeah.
That'd be VCU.
Who's won 16 of 17?
Right. I mean, they could play VCU. So I mean, I think Illinois is going to bitch about having to play Carolina and Greenville when they know they could probably just as easily get VCU. So.
Well, here's the deal. Bottom line is, go win the games and guard somebody and rebound. You know what? I said earlier, you put yourself in a situation. We talked about, or we've heard all year long, that the tallest team in the country, the number one offensive efficiency team in the country, all that stuff can throw out the window. They need a gut check. I'm glad to hear you say they talked about having a meeting. I think all that stuff is great, but I'm at this point right now, and I can't speak for the three of you. I want to see it. I am tired of hearing lip service. Get your asses out there, block somebody out, go rebound, and be tough. This is a good enough team where they could win games. They could advance out of the Sweet 16, but it's not going to be easy. And you're right, and nobody's going to roll over to them either. So this whole nice guys and talking about, well, yeah, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, and this is on me. It's time to man up. It really is. So if they have that meeting, I like it. I want to see it happen. I want to see people being called out for bad shots. They've had leads, and then one or two guys shoot a bad shot, and nobody says anything. Now it's time to man up, because now you lose, you go home.
Yeah, it was interesting because Kylan kind of said that Merkovich was the one that told him, hey, you think we ought to have a meeting? So the guy that maybe the youngest, one of the youngest kids, and quite frankly, at the start of the year, one of the most immature kids on your roster kind of goes to the guy who should be your sergeant of arms and goes, hey, you think we ought to meet and get this stuff figured out? And then if I was anybody at the University of Illinois, I don't know, administration, I would not have given us Thomas Slavovicic today, because I asked him specifically, Tommy, when you hear Brad say we need somebody to give a shit enough to get a rebound, do you have the moment where he's like, oh, he's talking about me? And the response I got, quote unquote, from Tommy was, you'd have to ask Brad if he's talking about me or not. Okay, like, whatever. Like, I do think that there are guys that are really, really relaxed and really loose on this team. I think Tommy's one of them. But I don't think Brad can stick the cattle prod up their thigh and get anything out of them anymore. He seemed to think that this has got to be player-driven. And if it's not player-driven, again, they could go out to Penn on Thursday. So.
Well, and Boswell's got to be smart too, because I thought that technical at the very beginning of the game, that turned out to be a big technical. I mean, that was, and it was a really good defensive play that you just had there was no reason to have that happen. I don't know how Brad, you've coached for years. I don't know how you felt about that technical foul.
I'll let you go, but the head basketball coach at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign said he loved it.
I did too.
He loved everything. He loved everything about it.
I did too.
So I mean, he did not care if he got the technical and loved everything about it.
Yeah, I didn't mind it, but he didn't stop. So what happens is you get a technical. Now, here's my thought. If you're officiating, this is where I'm going to go back on the officials. If you're officiating that game, giving both those guys technicals to start the game is stupid. Just go hey, we're done. We're not doing that here. And then if they don't stop, you give them a technical, but you give them a nice warning, and you don't do that, because then it puts them in a bind. Boswell gets a second foul within less than a minute into the game on a fluke little rebound play. So that's where it's bad. But yeah, I like that they showed a little passion when they did that. I don't disagree with that, because they need that. That's one thing they lack, is especially when things aren't going great. They are fantastic front runners. Like when they're ahead, they front run and they are fired up, they're energetic and so forth.
Until they shoot themselves out of it.
Yeah, when they're making shots, they are, and then they shoot and don't defend themselves out of it. So yeah, I agree. And there's good and bad to all that stuff. I mean, how much emotion do you want to show? How do you show it intelligently? I don't know. Well, that was team needed an edge, and Kylan tried to provide it.
So here's the deal with me. I thought it was good. I did, but like you said, Brad, he picked up another foul. He didn't let it go. I thought that was crazy. There's a lot of comments over about Merkovic, and I'm going to tell you, I listen to podcasts all the time, and what Matt said, I'm not surprised by. A lot of people, people are entitled to their opinions. They really want to see Merk be a leader because he can be. If you think about it, he has been one of our best players, one of the best players on the team. He rebounds. You go back to the Michigan game, he had a double. I mean, he wasn't great, but then to hear what Tommy had to say, it's frustrating. And it's frustrating. And I'm going to tell you, he's had a very, very disappointing season. I mean, he's had enough games now to where it matters. If what's tough for me, and I'm just going to say it, I want to see his brother, Zonomer, play more because at least he is going to challenge shots. He will at least try to go get a rebound. If Tommy's not going to do the pick and pop and be effective, and if he's not going to rebound, I'm just asking for a friend. What is the point? Because he has to give you something. Everybody else on that team, when they get on the floor, Z is going to potentially give you block shots. He's going to rebound. Neither one of those guys are shooting the ball well. You know what you're going to get from Jake Davis. You're going to get defense from Benjamin Rickhouse. They are not going to go far unless Tommy is the Tommy that you saw last year. And I don't know if that's going to happen because the season is 90% over now. Because if you lose, you go home. I want to see all the guys be tougher. Last comment. When the game gets tough, Brad's right, the front runners, when the game gets close, everybody passes the basketball. I see two guys, one guy who I know is going to shoot it because they give the ball to him is Keaton Wagler. The other guy who will shoot it and don't care about it is David. Everybody else, and maybe Kylan, I just don't think they want the ball. Look at the shot clock when it winds down. What they do with the ball.
Andre wants the ball.
I was going to say,
Andre wants the ball.
Well, you know what? We haven't talked about him. That's my X factor. I'm sorry. I know we haven't got there yet. That is the guy I want to see get more minutes. I'm sorry. He is an X factor because one, people don't like it. People text me, he doesn't have any assists. I don't give a damn about an assist right now. We need guys who are tough and want to score. He's the one guy on that team, the only guy on that team that I know who will, if he has a chance to dunk a ball and put it in your face, who's tough enough and doesn't run from competition is him. David would probably be the other guy. Keaton's obviously the most talented. I want to see Andre do what he does. At the end of the day, I would ask the people listening to this show and you guys as hosts, if he gave you 30 points in a win, would you be okay with that? Or 11 points and 11 assists in a loss? No brainer. I want to see the guy score. We need him. Sorry, they didn't bring him there to pass the basketball. They need him to be aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue. He's got to be aggressive. He's also got to be smart, though. You can't just dribble into six people and throw up something and then wonder why you didn't score. But your point, I think,
I think that the problem is he by not passing, he's created no driving lanes because teams don't help, or they can help. They can help off shooters when he's driving. With the other guys, I think they've started to do that with Keaton. I'm not going to lie, because when he penetrates, he isn't passing very often. I saw him do it a couple times. So I think that's part of the issues. And I would like to see them he'd be a little bit more distributing for others. I want him to be aggressive, but play off 2 feet, make that pass. He made a couple nice passes, interior passes the other day, and that was good to see. But yeah, I think the other thing is with Stojakovic, that elbow isolation is like his bread and butter. And I love seeing them do that. The second half, they kind of went away.
Yes.
Went away from that.
And I would think, too, with elbow isolation, you would think if you were on the wing, you could kind of sink down to the corner and always stay in his vision a little bit. And you know what I mean? Just to be
Mike,
there.
You got to remember, he's got blinders on, baby. He's got blinders. He's like a racehorse. They put the blinders.
That was the heart of every offense we've ever ran, was to try to. It's like, man, if you're going down the lane, just be looking for that guy out there in the corner, whether it's the guy on your side, or if you go in front of the basket, it'll be the guy on the other side going down to the corner, because you force that defender to come over, and then you've got all sorts of things depending on how you're running it. Let's take a quick look here, because we didn't do the final bracket, which for us is our friends at Michigan leading the way with Iowa State at the 2 seed, Virginia at the 3 seed, Alabama as the 4 seed. I think this one is also a little bit of a weaker a weaker bracket. Brad, am I seeing this wrong, or are you coming to the same conclusion? What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I think that you look at a Texas Tech team that doesn't have JT Toppin. You look at an Alabama team that lacks size, although they can score, they really struggle in the interior. Tennessee struggles to score, they're going to guard. Virginia, I think, is a little bit overrated at a 3. I think that they've had some nice games, but they play a lot of don't play it. They're in the ACC. That used to be a good thing. Now it's not. I think Kentucky's a massive underachiever, and Iowa State looked really good this past weekend, but I have also seen them not look so good at times. I think that's a region that doesn't have Michigan. But again, Michigan doesn't look like Michigan.
Not
right
since the injury.
Not since the injury to LJ Kaysen. LJ Kaysen was such a key part for them coming off the bench, and to not have him, I think, has hurt them. And I think for the key for Michigan is going to be getting Yaxel Lindebord to kind of be more aggressive offensively. I mean, what did he make? 1 field goal on Saturday, and it was the 3 to win it. I mean, like, really, he just didn't take shots. He just hasn't been looking to shoot. I get he's a 3. He's not really a 3-and-D guy. He's more of a D, and just find a way to win and do all those little things. But I don't know. I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive offensively for them. But it's a good draw for Michigan. It's a great region, and they should get to the Final Four out of that region. But again, there's some teams that have a history. They have a history, and if they get hot, they're really hard to beat. They can score at a high level. I don't know that Michigan. I could see Michigan and SLU. Let's say it's that game. Morez Johnson against Robbie Avila, AAU teammates.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be fun. Mean Street dudes, right?
Yeah, Ked, your thoughts?
Older, but
yeah, Ked, your thoughts on this region?
I don't think it's as easy as people think. Because here's why I did say that. Me personally, I think Virginia's really good. I think they're good. They're a 3 seed for a reason. Iowa State is not the team that Brad mentioned. I agree with you, but Michigan is not playing great. When they did the broadcast, I'm sure you guys were listening, and they were kind of pitching Michigan in, and I know Illinois fans want to hear Bruce Pearl is kind of picking Michigan to go to win it all. That's not going to be easy. It's really not going to be. I'm going to tell you that right now because Iowa State can get hot. Yeah, there's not a Hilton. They can be very, very dangerous, but Texas Tech JT is not the same. John Gross, kudos to him. I think this is good for him. And a lot of people say, he needs to get back in Division I, a major D1 Power 4 school. Not my option, not my thing, but I think he's good where he's at. Tennessee don't always play Tennessee, and the feast of fathom. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. But I don't think none of the brackets are easy. And I'm going to tell you guys, we all watch these games, and you watch them if you're covering them, if you're a fan, or whatever the case may be. None of these games are going to be easy. There's going to be some serious upset. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing I don't want to see, and we want people to join our community, the Illini guys, and to be a part of it. But boy, if Illinois goes out in the first weekend, man, we should all run because the fans are going to let us hear it. Because I'm going to tell you, they are going to be hot. The way they finished down the stretch has been bad. And then what Matt said about Tommy, I mean, my phone, people are listening. My phone is blowing up right now.
Yeah, me too.
People are blowing up because they're upset because of what Matt said.
You have to. I need something from you though.
What's that?
You just told me Virginia's good because they're a 3 seed. That shows they're good. So you think Illinois is good then, right?
Oh, man, yeah, I think they're good. I really do.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Oh, heck yeah, I think they're good. But we see them more, and I think we're all concerned. I mean, because they haven't played well. We know more about Illinois. And truthfully, I was hoping I knew it wasn't going to happen because you were telling us in our group text that we thought they could get to St. Louis. I'm just disappointed because they didn't finish, and they're not playing well down the stretch. We know they can beat anybody. We know that, but we know they can lose. I don't want to say they can lose anybody because they don't really have any bad losses, guys. No. They should have beaten teams, but they don't have a bad loss on their resume.
So, Matt, your thoughts on this Midwest region?
I think Michigan can walk to the regional final. And the reason I say that is because their best player has enough self-awareness to tell Tracy Wilson during the semis, I'm not playing very well right now, and I got to figure it out. And I think, if Yaxel figures it out and plays like the Big Ten Player of the Year, Michigan's still really, really hard to deal with, and they're probably better than everybody they're going to see until the regional final. They're just a really, really tough draw for everybody because they can pretty much do everything, and they have a guy who's a 6'9" Swiss Army knife in Yaxel Luxembourg. So I suspect that unless something drastically goes wrong, that they can walk to the regional final. Now, are they going to get an Iowa State team? He's going to make you guard him. That's been the mantra since he's gotten to Ames, and he's one tough you-know-what. And I'm not betting against Michigan if Yaxel plays well, because, again, today I don't think he played very well, and I think Purdue's 4 guys played really, really well, and they bull rushed them. So it's hard. It's not going to be easy, but I don't think that Michigan's draw – I think I probably would have said the same thing no matter what Michigan's draw, because they're just so talented, and their best player is a 6'9" Swiss Army knife that I think is a really tough matchup for anybody. So I don't like them going up against St. Louis just because I don't think SLU has enough dudes. And then what you guys said about Toppin, I don't think Texas Tech has enough dudes. I don't think Mark has enough dudes without Toppin, and I don't think Alabama guards you well enough to handle Michigan. If Alabama hits 23s every 4 straight times, they're going to be able to, or 4 straight times, they're going to be able to get out of this region. That's kind of the way that Nate kind of plays it. But I just don't think they guard well enough to be able to win 4 games. So
Alabama, Wisconsin, and Illinois are in that family. It looks like we've got another joinee. We got Marcus Griffin. I did promise that we'd have the Illini legend. We got to see him being interviewed the other day by Jim Matson as his high school team was winning state again. Marcus, what'd you think of this Illinois draw?
To be honest, I'm sorry, guys. I literally made a stupid decision last night and decided to drive up north this morning, and I did not notice it was going to be this bad. So it's been rough getting home, but I saw a little bit of it. They're going to have to play some good basketball. I think they're capable of still getting to a Final Four. Like, the first part of the season is over. This is a new start to something better, bigger and better. They just going to have to lock in. For the most part, I think they kind of limped into the NCAA tournament, but they got a chance to wipe all of that off, have a new mindset, knuckle down, start playing some solid defense, so hopefully we can shoot the ball a lot better. I think this first round can give them some confidence because I feel like they don't get a lot of open looks. And so hopefully that can start the conversation and getting their confidence better.
Why are you coming in here on this podcast trying to be positive, man? That's not what we want you here for.
Because this is what they need to hear right now, because we've got to get positive. We got to spread some excitement and some joy. But we see the task that's in front of us. We see what's in front of us. Like, they're going to go up against some athletic bigs, some athletic guards, and to get it done, they're going to have to do something that they haven't consistently done so far this year.
Now, Brad, we had one person ask a question of you. Why did Illinois go away from Stojakovic on the elbow? Was there something that Wisconsin did to take it away? Or did
Wisconsin, if you notice in the second half, Wisconsin stayed more middle. They kept another guy in the paint, and they tried to take that away. But and I still would have gone to it more, and let Dre know, hey, this is where the help's coming from, and gone with that. The other thing is that you saw them going to this is going to make Griff happy. I just want to make him happy. They went to Tommy out of bounds, or had a timeout. They run a play. They throw the ball into the post to get him mismatch. He just drops down, scores easily, and then they were done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not gonna do that anymore.
Me and Kent talked about that. Me and Kent talked about that exact same play.
But what I don't understand is you'll do that once, but then at the same time they'll run the same screening action to get a wide open 3, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that when it's working, but they miss it, and they're going to run it again and get the same shot, and they get the same shot, and they get the same shot. But when you get a layup, we don't want that. That's way too much. We don't want to lay up with a 7-inch height advantage over and over. That's terrible, right? I don't know. Just seems strange to do it one time and then just not do it again. By the way, did you see what Keaton Wagler did today? He gave the entire team Beats by Dre to get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
He already got his NBA contract? I need to make a phone call, baby. I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Hey,
I get it.
He's like the highest selling NIL guy in the country week after week.
Man, yeah, he is.
Gazy Fudd.
You know what? That's awesome. He's a good kid, man. I mean, he really and truly is. And I tell you what stinks, and I'm not going to go into that because Mike hasn't brought it. I'm not going to ruin this podcast. But what's sad to me is seeing how frustrated he's been the last few games. The one thing everybody talked about with him was the fact that he didn't show any emotion. He wants to win. He really does. And if you guys saw the video when they lost to Wisconsin, he wasn't crying, but he was really, really upset. It matters to these kids. As fans, you like it, you love it, you get frustrated with them. I just saw here, and I was not the most positive with Tommy. That's wrong to do. I understand. I guess you just want more because you see it and you know it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You
that's
can.
it. Now,
I can really. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I agree. That's like I was trying to come on the podcast to be positive. What I've been saying all year round, all year long, about how I think that they should bring something different to the offense. And I just didn't want to say that again. Like, we talked about that possession at the last game when they hit the drop step over the big guy when it was a 12-inch height advantage. But he has the potential to be so dominant on the low block. Like, he could be a two-way scorer for them on a consistent level. Same as David. But for whatever reason, they do it 2 or 3 times. They will go 70%, not missing a shot in the paint, and then they will just go away from it. And I just don't understand.
Yeah. Was there anything that upset you about watching the program? Were there any teams you thought got screwed over, Brad? Was there any like, geez, what are they doing type of situation?
I thought St. John's got a tough draw, not only being a 5 seed, but they get Kansas in the second round, and then they also are in the same region as UConn and Duke. I know they're on the other side, but it just seems weird that I guess you're leaving them in the East, I guess, is what you're saying. That's your advantage. But yeah, I thought that was odd. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I didn't. I just thought that was a weird seeding after their win over UConn. Then the other team, I thought Vanderbilt got a tough draw. So yeah, those are teams maybe got rough seedings. I don't think I didn't like Illinois. I didn't like Illinois' location, but I do like the draw, the teams they play. I'd rather play them here. So
Yeah,
somebody asked about the baseball game tonight. Go USA, baby. Paul Skeens. Let's see him on fire. That'd be fun. I think that's a really great matchup with the Dominican Republic. But I think Skeens can throw. I think they're going to allow him to throw like 80 pitches tonight, so that'll be different.
Wasn't it fun to watch Pearl have to whine and complain about his son's team not getting in? I got to be honest with you, that guy's been a turd for 40 years, and it's about time somebody flushes him. But
you know what's worse? The fact that they put him on TV. There are so many qualified guys out there. I'm going to tell you a guy that I would like to have seen who's really well-spoken. He might not have wanted to do it was Chris Webber. Bruce Pearl, on top of the fact that there's some history there with Illinois, they know how dirty he is. He's been caught since he's left the University of Iowa. You don't need him around. There's so many other guys. And then to see how he acted during the game the other day, we all saw that. I just don't. I'm not a fan. And then when you hear him talk and speak, it's BS. It's all fake. We know what he's like. And so there's so many other qualified guys you could have out there other than him. And would I tell him to his face? Hell yes, I would.
And he might yell at you because we saw that over the weekend when he was screaming at the SEC tournament at a bad call. So we saw exactly what he is. We'll be talking a little bit about this. Obviously, this opponent this weekend with Fran coming back. But Brad, what do you want to see out of this Illini team? We know they're having the players only meeting, so that's nice. But what do you want to see different out on the court when they play?
Well, I think executing a defensive game plan that looks like they have a defensive game plan is going to be the key for me. And then the second thing is to be diverse. I mean, I think they have to get – and I know Z's not a good post-up player, but Tommy's a pretty good post-up player. He can score in the post if you get in the ball. And And I think so many times, like it's especially against the matchup you're going to have against Penn. I mean, he should be able to score inside. Let's get him the ball. Let's get David the ball. Let them post up against these guys where they have a mismatch. All you have to do to beat Penn is run them off the line. You force them into shooting twos, and you're going to beat them handily. I mean, it's just because they're going to score against their defense. You're going to outsize them, but you've got to run them off the line. So I just want to see them execute the defensive game plan that does that. Then I'm happy because I think they'll win handily if they do that.
So for me, honestly, I do want to see them guard better, number one. I do want to see them become tougher. But Brad, I love you to death, and you're my homie. You know that for life. I think Tommy is a better low post player than Z. The fact that he won't go down there. I think if
that's what I said, Ken.
I'm sorry. Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
I
I'm sorry. I want to see them do something different. Everybody's expecting them to jack up a bunch of threes. I want to see them, and I'm not, Marcus, we're not saying this because you're here. I'm telling you, we're not. I want to see them surprise people, punish them in the post, because I don't know if very many people can stop him. He's a good free throw shooter, and he can shoot with both hands. It's an arsenal that's been untapped. It's something that nobody in the country have seen, because if he's in the post, those three balls that they get, they won't be uncontested. I mean, they'll be uncontested. The guy I think can get you going. We talked about Andre. The guy that's the flamethrower to me, and don't run off the road if you're listening to this or hang this podcast up, I think Ben Humrickhouse could be that X factor along, to me, with Andre. When Ben gets going and he's on a roll, his catch and shoot is as good as anybody in college basketball. They need to get that post touch. And I also want to say this, and I've been saying it all year, and I'm going to maybe have to email the coaches or something, I don't know, or the SID to tell them, what are you going to do to stop the bleeding? What are you going to do when teams are making a run in the tournament? You can't do what you've done now because you're going to go home. When your team gets a lead, like Brad mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, and you get stagnant, what are you going to call timeout? Who are you going to get a shot? Who's going to take the layup? Who's going to go to the free throw line? They need to spend their whole week on defense and running sets to stop the bleeding, because every team is going to make a run, especially Fran, because he knows Illinois.
Marcus, what are you wanting to see?
I can double down on what both of these gentlemen have said, but the one thing I don't think we have talked about is their energy level. I think they have started a lot of games flat, not meeting the energy from the opposing bigs regard. I want to see Illinois get back to dominating in that paint, meaning I'm talking about on the offensive side of the glass and the defensive side of the rebounds. Forget everything else. Let's own the glass. We are the second biggest team in college basketball. Let's play like it. Let's stop giving up a lot of offensive rebounds on that side. But then I would love to see some diversity in the lineup. KP, I'm finally glad to see that you finally came over, because I've been preaching this since the beginning of the year, and you was not with me at the beginning of the year. But now you have seen the light and the justice, and you've come home. You've come home, and you see that they just need to – Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Part of it is because I can't look at this team the way I play. I'm not. This isn't about Kendrick. I can shoot the hell out of basketball, and I don't. That's why I like it. I like to see him do it. But I also know when it wasn't working for me, I found other ways to score, and I would like to see them do that. And I'm just not just for me. Take me out of the equation. I think it's good for the team. I really think it's good for the team. And Griffin, you weren't on earlier. Matt Stevens, one of our writers, was on earlier, and he talked to Tommy about his rebounding. I don't know, but he had 2 rebounds against Wisconsin. He didn't seem to be too concerned about it. That's a concern for me.
I don't remember any. He's lying.
Well, I don't know who was in the game at the end of the game. I know David was in there when Blackwell got that rebound. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I know Michigan State. Who's going to go in there and just lay somebody out to get a rebound? No, don't lay somebody out, because they'll call a foul in the Big Ten. However, who's going to be that guy? And I don't know who that is. I think it's David. I really do. But I'm going to tell you, the other guy on that team, I've said it to the start of the season, who I like, who's aggressive and not bashful, is Zonomir. They need more of him because he's not bashful. He's aggressive. He'll play defense. He'll try to block shot. He can move his feet. You go back to the Nebraska game, which we all talked about when Sanford got off. Tommy just went out there. He didn't put his hand up. John is at least going to challenge him. Now let's do this, put the best players on the floor, or you go home. That's why I want to see Andre out there.
And I'll tell you what I want to see. Instead of this fiddle farting around with a team and being up 6 points and then 8 points and then 4 points and then 9 points, I want to see them go over 10 quick. And then I want to see them get to 15. And I want to see them push it to a 20-point lead. I want to see them put the pedal to the metal and stop this farting around going, oh, guess what? It's easy. I'm going to jack up a three-pointer from 25 feet with 18 seconds left in the shot clock because we're up by 15 points. I want to see some more discipline there, and I want to see them just blow a team out and get ready to play that second-round game. Is that asking too much?
No, not at all. It's not asking too much. They need to do that. And I think some of it is like what I want to see also is stopping a run by not taking a quick three. You've seen them get these big leads and it becomes boom. They're trying to win by 40 instead of just continue to extend the lead with what you were doing and being patient offense and doing those things. So yeah, that I agree with you, Mike. That's how you put teams away by you make runs by getting stops and getting scores, taking high percentage shots, executing what they have to do. Illinois gets a 7 seed and they play Nashville, the women, by the way. They are the 7 seed in Nashville. And that is the one team, I know Ked disagrees, but that's the one team out of the top 8 that I thought they actually have a chance to compete with. Now, they do have to beat Colorado. That won't be an easy first-round game, but then they would get Colorado in Nashville and then Vanderbilt. So that's probably the best draw they could hope for was to be a 7 seed there.
Well, I like the 7 seed, but damn, I did not want to play. I'm going to tell you, hey, you know what? I think we made a bet. We did. Was it me and you and Mike? No, there was something else. I'm sorry. It was just something else different. We always got something going on.
We always get something. But here's the thing. I look at the 1s and 2s. Obviously, you didn't want to go to Stores and be an 8 seed and play UConn. And you didn't want to play Texas, and you didn't want to play South Carolina. So, I mean, you start looking at there are limited options. Obviously, you couldn't play UCLA, who's going to be a 1. But, so I think, it's pretty cool. I mean, at least you feel like you got a fighting chance, maybe. We'll see.
And I don't like that gym. I think the gym is ugly.
Oh.
Do you like it, don't you? Do you like it?
No.
I don't like that either.
I love I like Bridgestone, where Illinois played against Tennessee. So that's nice.
Okay. So let's go around. Let's do final wrap up here for this. Marcus, any final thoughts? We do appreciate you driving in the middle of that horrible storm, but give us any final thoughts here before we wrap.
Right now, I just say whatever happened in the first part of the season, that is over. You have new life now, new energy. Bring it. Every day, bring it. You got quite a few days to practice. You got quite a few days to hone in something to get some dog, like that dog, because now it's win or go home. Like, you don't have an opportunity to have a poor defensive outing. Like, you got to bring it every day. Hard hat on head. Let's go. But other than that, man, let's continue to just to rebound the ball and play good team, solid offense, and then play good team, solid defense, and that'll get us done.
Yeah, and I do think, look, Purdue was what they had lost like 4 or 6 going into the Big Ten tournament, and then go through and win it. So you can get hot, and you can do things that you were doing all year earlier and play much better. So let's hope Illinois can get their house in order. Ked, your thoughts?
Just live up to the hype, fellas. Everybody's Marcus is right. It's a new tournament. My philosophy, and I'm never going to change it, you only have to be good for one day. I don't care if you're playing Duke or UConn or St. John's. Just be good for that one day. You don't want to leave the floor thinking, well, if I would have done this, I should have done this. You got to play tough. You have to be tougher. It's a mental game right now for everybody. I saw that too, Mike. You do want to advance. Are they good enough? Yes. But all the clippings and all the things that we say, Kedrick, about how good you are, how good you're supposed to be, it doesn't matter. Throw all that out the window. The social media stuff, this is one time I would say stay off of it. Go compete, because you have one of the best fan bases in the country. They will follow you to Hong Kong or Egypt if you perform well. Just go do what you're supposed to do, and we know how good they are. Don't roll over. Don't play dead. Be tougher.
All righty, that's good. No, I totally agree with that. We got St. Dominic's Rosary, who is now on the does Brad's seat get warm if they don't make the second weekend this year. I would say that fans will be a little frosty, but you have to be in the tournament year in and year out to make a run. And he is getting people, he's getting the team into the tournament every year. So you would think one of these years you're going to get the run, and obviously the sooner that happens, the better it is for Illinois fans and Illinois coaching staff. Sturdy.
Yeah, I know he doesn't. His seat's not warm. You have the most wins in the Big Ten. You're one of what, 3 or 4 programs that have 27 consecutive 20-win seasons. This is, it's kind of crazy talk that we're even thinking about that as the 10th overall seed. That means you're a top 10 team right now in college basketball, and you've been that way in 3 of the last 6 years. So, man, I don't know. It's they need to make the second weekend though. I think to quiet a lot of doubters. Get to the second weekend, and I think everybody's kind of probably going to feel good about that, and then take a chance and play Houston and see what happens there. Maybe it's not Houston. Who knows? We've seen upsets before. Maybe they get upset. So who knows? But yeah, I think that's the key is getting out of this first weekend and then kind of seeing what happens and making this week. We saw them beat an Iowa State team that was seated ahead of them a couple years ago. If they can do that again, then you feel really good about heading in there. And the one thing is, and like, if they do play Florida, if they get to the regional final and they play Florida, this team has confidence against Florida because they already played them in the secret scrimmage and played very well against them in a game that was almost unofficiated from a physical standpoint. And so they feel really good about, not that Florida's not really good, but they feel like that's a game where they can match up. I don't think they would have wanted to play probably Michigan in their bracket. I don't think they wanted to play them. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'll answer one other question. The Big 12 floor,
Oh,
that may not have worked this time, but that is the future of basketball at the highest
it
levels.
is. And it's all
Yep, you're gonna see technological advances. I mean, right now I can only imagine with that glass how the issues you would have with condensation and temperature if it was on top of a hockey surface. But I do think that will be the wave of the future. Maybe not in high schools, but when you get to the major conferences and the NBA, when you can put ads on the court that people can't turn off as they're watching the game, it's going to be something that you will see because folks will pay for that because there's so many ways to evade advertising if it's not on there as part of the program. That's why long ago soccer went to the jerseys that have the company names on them as opposed to the actual team names. And you're going to see, I believe, the NCAA, aren't they going to have 1 or 2 patches next year, Brad, for football and I think
Yep.
basketball?
You
So
can
they're
have
going to
like
have the
advertisements.
yes. So I think if they can get the court to be a continuous ad, whether it's American Airlines or IlliniGuys or you name the company,
She goes bail bonds.
yeah, that's the revenue stream that they're going to need. And until they figure out how to balance this NIL situation, they're going to need dollars every year because there's always going to be that one team who will pay for the player that you want on your team. So you're going to need the cash flow. And if you can get those courts in there and that generates a lot of revenue, good for you. So folks, we will be back later this week. We'll try to preview this game. We will certainly be on doing a post-game show on Thursday. It's going to be an interesting game. Illinois is going to be out there. Get your FranCon meters all ready to go. We haven't had a chance to use those this year, and look what happened. If you hold on long enough, you get lucky enough to see this happen. So until next time, folks, go Illini.